we realize, we're very aware that we come to this moment standing on the shoulders of many who have come before us, coaches, former players, alumni, supporters, the administrations. And to make this season in particular possible, it took the support and hard work of so many, not the least of which obviously are the players. My heart's full of gratitude for the opportunity to be shoulder to shoulder with these men every day.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Alan Cutler, honored and pleased to be with proud Papa for the second time. Jimmy, have you gotten any sleep? Have you gotten any sleep with your beautiful girl? Now been around for 5 days?
Yeah. No. Thursday. Let's see. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, 5 days. I can't do math now. I don't know what day it is. But yeah, we've gotten some sleep. She's actually been fantastic. Overnight, we're still figuring it out, but during the day, sleeps incredible. Even with our 4-year-old being rambunctious all around her, she has not flinched one time napping.
Wow.
Downstairs in the middle of everything, noise everywhere. She could not care less.
You might end up being the luckiest parents on the face of the earth.
Oh, yeah, and we've heard it from both the grandparents ever. They're like, oh, you just wait. She'll regress a little bit. She has to, because I didn't sleep till I was 18 months old. My wife, I think, was kind of similar. The first 9 months, she didn't sleep through the night. So, yeah, we've been hearing how lucky we are.
Actually, when you said 18, I thought you were going to say I never slept till I was 18 years old. Well, welcome back. I'm surprised you're here, but you have a lot of help at home. Yes, family, which is a beautiful thing. And you know, seriously, what you're going through is tons better than anything going on in Kentucky or anything like that. We're so happy for you. It's absolutely unbelievable. And what's coming up this afternoon?
Wildcat Drive with Matthew and Jimmy, 4 to 6.
All right. Here's my problem. There's so many things that tick me off and I have to talk about. It's pretty interesting. I'm going to start with Todd Golden. Jimmy, I just retweeted something that was out there about what Todd said about Kentucky. It was innocent. It was not that big of a deal, I didn't think. And not a bunch, but some Florida fans came at me really hard. And all I did was just laughed. You know, in the 3 games that we played these guys, they haven't led 1 minute. Yeah. Okay. And by the way, I have no problem with what he said, but I'm going to tell you why I think he's been saying what he said. He's a cocky little you-know-what. And by the way, that's not being negative. Think about it. When he played ball, do you think he got any help? Look, Travis Ford, in his own way, and I'll ask Travis next time he's on because we've talked about it, had to be really cocky. He was just classier about it than Golden. Come on. Travis is not standing 6 feet with tall heels, and yet he was such a great player. It's unbelievable. Well, Golden was the same way. And I've said the same thing about Stein. Stein is really cocky. I've been doing this forever. You end up seeing that short people, and I'm not being negative, often have to be cockier because of their size. If you're taking that as being negative, I can't help you. But it's a trait that's not 100%, but I've seen many, many, many times. So why has Todd Golden mentioned the $22 million salary for Kentucky for the team? It's pretty simple, Jimmy, and I'll bet you agree with this. It's all about Aberdeen. He don't like losing, and he was ticked that Aberdeen came to Kentucky. If what I have been told is true, and I've mentioned these numbers before, Aberdeen asked for a couple $1 million. Okay? That shouldn't shock anyone. If what I understand is true coming from somebody inside Florida, that Florida said no. And Aberdeen and Kentucky quickly got together. So he's ticked, I believe, that Aberdeen left him to come to Kentucky. I absolutely believe it. And if I'm wrong, God bless. I don't buy it that I'm being wrong, because why would he do it? Now, here's the other thing. He's like that with everyone. That's just the way he is. Okay. And I think his guys like it. I think they like his edge. I think he's a hell of a coach. He's a hell of a coach. And you might not recall, depending upon how long you've been listening to the show, when he was hired, I thought it was a great hire. I did then. I do now. I do now. Now, there's some off the court stuff I've talked about. I don't want to get into. But the fact is, the guy's a hell of a basketball coach. He really is. And if you take a look at his big men, and this has been pointed out, how low they were thought of in the top 250 and how good they are now, give him credit. And recently, I gave him all kinds of credit for Boogie Fland. When Florida was here, I was, shocked is too strong. I was really, really, really surprised how hard Fland played on defense. Now, Boogie Fland didn't play that kind of defense for Cal, and Boogie Fland wasn't playing that kind of defense early this year. But Boogie Fland against Kentucky here at Rupp Arena hustled as hard on defense as anybody on the court. That's a change. He got to him. How he got to him, I have no idea. Look at the results. Look at the results. And so I respect the guy. But this whole thing about the shots against Kentucky, he's ticked his guy, left him to go to Kentucky. Like, how dare you? Jimmy, does that make sense to you? Can you see that with the, come on, you play ball. Didn't you have some short guys that were cocky little blank, 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 blanks, that kind of stuff?
Oh, yeah, like that's where the stereotype, whatever you want to call it, the little man syndrome, short man syndrome. But you, like you said, you have to play that way because you're not ever handed anything. You're always showing like, okay, I don't care how good you think you got to prove to me you're good. Now, if you have someone who's 6'4", 230 pounds, they don't really have to prove it at first. They will get more of the nod of approval. So you kind of have to have that hard edge to you. And like you said, as long as you own it, and that's who, it's not a persona you're putting on, like that's, the players are going to respect it.
Enough on Golden. That Florida game took 9,000 hours. And I didn't think they were going to beat Florida. I thought they had a really good shot, and I was wrong. And I really think the SEC was just fine. And what did I say on the show after the game? I was not down at Kentucky at all. I wasn't down at all. It's okay. How many people are being in Florida? So that's okay. Now, let's go to the soundbite we heard. That was with Herb Sendek, who I consider a friend for a long time. Matter of fact, Herb's going to do the show tomorrow. And we've been texting up and back. And until last night, Jimmy, I'm telling you, I'm not trying to be cocky, but it's pretty obvious. I don't think there's another human being in the state of Kentucky who's watched as much Santa Clara until last night. And last night, the assistant coaches and probably Pope went way past me. Anytime they're on national TV, I've been taping them forever. I either watch the whole game, which is most of the time, but not all the time, or I'll just watch the clips. As I've texted up and back with Herb, I think this is his most physical team. I think he's a hell of a coach. I think he's one of the better coaches in the country. I've thought that for a long time period. I have. And he got a new contract in 2025, and the AD came out the other day and said they want to extend it. He's a lovely man. He's really, really smart. And I've told this story before, but he went to Carnegie Mellon. Jimmy, I don't know about you, but the only thing I could do getting into Carnegie Mellon, I could fill out the application. And then if I sent it in, there'd be one word: reject. It's a brainy school. And he turned down a job. Would you do this, Jimmy? He turned down a job for $75,000 right out of college to become a coach for nothing. How many people do that?
Not many.
It's what he wanted to do. Billy Donovan walked away from Wall Street to get into coaching, okay? And being a New York kid with all the New Yorkers on Wall Street, and he was the Big East Player of the Year and had a lot of friends. Do I think he would have been successful also on Wall Street? Hell yeah. But he wanted the coach. By the way, the famous Kentucky Duke game, that was Herb Sendek's game plan. Okay? He's one of the smartest coaches out there. And I have said, and this is not a shot against Kentucky, it's just not. And maybe some people will take it that way. It's not a shot against Kentucky. Their offense is much more pleasant to watch than Kentucky's. Now, can Kentucky's defense change that? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. They jack up threes like crazy. They shoot 29 threes a game. But they're being called a three-point shooting team, but Kentucky and Santa Clara hit the same percentage. So, now when you watch them, look at their spacing. The spacing on the floor is really, really, really good. Should Kentucky lose this game? No, they shouldn't lose this game. They should not. Absolutely not. You know, I was watching the championship when they were playing Gonzaga, and they had them in the first half, not in total control. And then Gonzaga's defense just was smothering them too much, and they lost the championship. And it's kind of odd. They lost to Gonzaga, if I remember, 3 times this year, but beat St. Mary's twice. And St. Mary's, I think those that follow basketball knows they've been the number 2 team in that league forever. It's a really good basketball team Herb's got. And he's got a couple of first-round draft choices in the NBA in the last, 4 or 5 years? I'll get the years tomorrow, but it's 4 or 5 years. Matter of fact, Pazinski, the last guy to go in, I was watching the Knicks game last night. He had like 25 points, 2 games in a row. He's one of the tougher guys. Didn't say the best, not the second best, not the third best. I'm not saying that. He's as tough as anybody on that Golden State team. He is. He's very physical. He's really good. And he's doing better going to the bucket. And because Curry was out, they needed him more. Played a hell of a game. He went to Santa Clara. And think about it. Who the hell is Herb getting to go to Santa Clara that's on any major recruiting list? Okay? There is nobody that Pope is going to look at in any serious tone that's going to Santa Clara. And his kids are great. They really are. And so Kentucky should win. What bothers me a little bit about the bracketing, and this has nothing to do with the people who did the bracketing. I got nothing against it. I don't like the bracketing because as a 7 seed, they're going to have to play, in all probability, Iowa State after they beat Santa Clara. That's just the way it is. Okay? And I think TJ Otzelberger, and Jimmy, I think I'm pronouncing it correctly, is one of the best coaches in the country. And they're really, really, really good. Jimmy, I don't know if you remember this, but when Cal left and I put 5 names together and talked about it on the air, he was one of the 5 that I would try to go higher. If there was ever any conversation, I have no clue. He's a hell of a coach. He's one of the best coaches in the country. If it comes down to Kentucky and Iowa State, and it should, do I think Kentucky will win? No. Can they win? Yeah. Yeah, it's called upset. Really. And so right now, as soon as I saw the bracketing, I went, oh, blank. It's going to be difficult for Kentucky to do what? It's going to be difficult for them to get to the Sweet 16. And so what I didn't like about the draw is, this is going to sound nuts, Jimmy. I was kind of mad at Kentucky. I'm not mad at the committee making them a 7 seed. Not. I don't think they got screwed. I think Kentucky screwed themselves. Okay, I really do. Because there's at least a couple of games that'd be easy to pick that they should have won and they did not. And I think they should have at least been a 6 seed had they earned it. So I think it's on Kentucky. I really do. I'm not blasting the committee. I'm not blasting, where they're playing. I'm not blasting anything. And in reality, you know how it is. You got to go where you got to go. Heck, in a way, you can say that Kentucky got a better deal than Arkansas. Because Arkansas has to fly to Portland. And if they advance, I wonder if they'll just stay out there. They go back to Arkansas and then back to the West Coast. That really sucks. I mean, I wonder what the people think about that. I know nobody feels sorry for Cal. Maybe some people do. That's fine. That's not the point. But the point is, you can't complain about having to take, if you live in Lexington, a 6-hour drive plus to go to St. Louis to watch him play. What I wonder is, how many people will make the drive? And I wonder if there'll be some people who won't make the drive because they do not believe that Kentucky's going to make the Sweet 16. So if you put out all that money, right, and you don't think Kentucky's going to make the Sweet 16, you might say, not this time. I don't know. It's just a thought. Now to Cal. The quotes on Cal were fascinating. By the way, he's really, really, really good. One of the problems that Kentucky has had defensively, and I've said this many times, is that Kentucky does not do a good job of keeping their man in front of them. They're just not good at it. They're not athletic enough. For example, Chandler jumps through the air with the greatest of ease, but he's not really good, and I'm not picking on Chandler, but sometimes people think because you can leap that you're good keeping your man in front of you. He's just not. Could he get better? Hope so. Shepard wasn't good at that, and guess what? He's gotten better this year. And Shepard worked on his defense first in every practice he did this summer, which I thought was smart, and I thought it was fascinating. So I think Chandler get better. I'm not picking on Chandler, but he's not the only one is the point. Okay, you look at Arkansas, and they have 5 guys on the court that can stay in front of their man. It's one of the little things about basketball nobody talks about. And they're really athletic, and they have shot blockers. And they're really good right now. I mean, really good. Let's put it this way. The Arkansas team today is so much better than the Arkansas team that Kentucky beat. The St. John's team today is so much better than the St. John's team that Kentucky beat. Jimmy, let me ask something. Do you think Kentucky has improved as much as St. John's and Arkansas during the season? I'm going to tell you, I do not. I think they've gotten better, and you better get better as the season goes on. Otherwise, you really stink. You really stink. Yes, I think Kentucky's gotten better, but there's no question in my mind, because I watch a lot of St. John's, and I've watched plenty of Arkansas. I think Arkansas and St. John's have improved more than Kentucky. You disagree? You think that's not fair? And Jimmy, you know me well enough. I have no sour grapes. I want Kentucky to win. So anybody thinks I'm bashing Kentucky? No, it's just an analyzation from watching them, Jimmy.
Yeah, no, Kentucky has improved, but to me, it's the lack of consistency with your improvement. Now, Kentucky's best games since then, I'd say you could put them close to the level of the improvement of Arkansas and St. John's, but then you have the duds, and it's not just one random dud here, one random dud there. It's been quite a few of them. So that's where I think they can't even, it's not close with St. John's, Arkansas, in Kentucky.
To Cal and his boys and his daughter. Bruiser Flint, dear friends, he's worked for Cal forever. Got screwed when he got fired from the head coaching job. He did. Bruiser Flint on Cal at UK, quote, I don't think they treated him well, bottom line, end of quote. Kenny Payne, Cal deserves, quote, to go out having fun and smiling and laughing and enjoying basketball again. Aaron, his wonderful daughter, you know what he loves doing? Building programs. That's a quote. I saw Cal do something. Maybe he did hit Kentucky. I don't know. It was late in the game, and one of the Arkansas kids hit a 3, and he kind of danced down the sidelines. He's got a hell of a team. And I got to tell you, I got a long voicemail from Roger Clinton, who's done the show. I guess I shouldn't have to keep on saying Bill's brother. We're friends. And I might have him on later this week if there's time. And he's so excited, it's off the charts. It's absolutely off the charts how excited he is. And the people in Arkansas is excited. And I'm happy for Cal. I will say this to Bruiser Flint. I can be more objective than you. Cal caused a lot of his own problems, whether Bruiser wants to admit it or not, where Kenny wants to admit it or not, where Aaron wants to admit it or not. Okay? From their perspective, this is a Hall of Fame coach, and therefore he shouldn't have had to do it. Shouldn't have had to deal with it. Yeah. I don't think this was a one-way street. Cal wins the national championship. I'm not changing my opinion. I'll be happy for Cal. I will. I'll be happy for Cal. Why not? But they're really good. And oh, by the way, Acuff, Jimmy, I've said this to Hoops now multiple times. I believe Acuff, right now, in my opinion, is the first guy I'd pick in the NBA draft. I know a lot of people say DeBansta, of BYU. Can't argue with that. The Peterson kid for Kansas, there's just no way. Whatever problem he has with the cramps, this, that, or the other, I don't want to touch him. Not at number one. It's an odd thing to have that problem at that age. And I'm sure Kansas got wonderful trainers like Kentucky has wonderful trainers. It's an odd problem. Jimmy, I don't know about you, but I was trying to think of the last time there was a kid ranked that high who had these kinds of problems. The cramps, the back, the this, that, whatever all that stuff was. It's happened many, many times. And so Acuff has the ball in his hands. Oh, the shot he hit Saturday night, Jimmy, I don't know if you saw it, falling away on the baseline, went in, and he passes the ball. He's not a hog. He passes the ball. A little pun there. He passes the ball. He's great. I would take him number one. To me, the NBA, who's got the ball in your hands? And when you have a great player with the ball in his hands, and I think he's spectacular. Let's put it this way. There aren't 10 teams more talented in Arkansas now. And Richmond, here's what's interesting. Cal kept those kids when they didn't go somewhere else after 1 year. He's got some kids who thought they were going to be one and dones, and they were not good enough, and they stayed. Not all of them. Boogie Flan left. Richmond is going to play in the NBA forever, okay? Because he blocks shots. He stays in front of his man. He can go out of 2, 3, 4, and I bet 5 if he has to for a short time period. He's a great defender, and his shot's gotten much better. Cal's got a lot of NBA players on that. Brazil is an NBA player, and I bragged on him last year. He's an NBA player. Now, they might have a couple guys picked in the second round, but he's got at least 3, if not more. Actually, the Thomas kid will play in the NBA, and he might be the guy next year. So that's probably 4. He's got 4 guys going to play in the NBA. That's more than just recruiting. Because I'm going to give Cal credit. They're playing defense, and they're playing together, and they're hustling. It's the best coaching job he's done, I think, since before Maxie and Quickly. His kids are listening to him, and he's having fun. And so, I get how Bruiser Flint is biased. I respect that. I get how Kenny Payne is biased. I respect that. How can you not respect that his daughter is biased, okay? But, Jimmy, do you agree with me, or do you agree with Bruiser Flint and Kenny Payne and Aaron Calipari that Cal brought a lot of it on himself? I think he did. 100%? No. But a lot? Absolutely. The comments, I want to go home and just hang out with my dog and watch reruns of that Alaskan show and stuff like that. Stop it. You got to filter yourself. I'm no filter, but you got to filter yourself. You just do. Agree, disagree, Jimmy?
No, I agree. And it is funny going from it's a stark difference in just the way that Cal would handle press conferences with comments like that and the way Mark Pope handles press conferences. Not that one is good and one is bad, but it's just totally different where Mark Pope gets into more the analytical side of things and this and that, where Cal, like you said, a lot of the times he would go, oh, yeah, we don't care about the SEC tournament or this. He would just make comments and you go, what are you saying? You realize that there's cameras here right now, right? Like, you have to, at least, like you said, have some kind of filter, lock in just a little bit.
To a few former Kentucky players, Onyenso is going to play in the NBA forever. Might never start. He didn't start for Virginia. Only played 22 minutes. He had 9 blocks, 8 rebounds, 6 points. He's really, 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 really good. And an offensive team, and I keep on pointing out Oklahoma City because they were smart enough to draft Wallace knowing he's not an offensive player, and I really thought Wallace would be a better offensive player now, but they don't need him for offense. He is one of the best defensive guards in the world, and they got other guys who can score. Could I see Onyenso playing at Oklahoma City off the bench for 10 years? Absolutely. And he can run the court. What an athlete. 9 blocks. 9 blocks. 7 feet. So a couple people came at me just with a question. And I think there's a lot of people thinking this. Travis Perry played a hell of a game, had a hell of a weekend for Ole Miss, who was trying to play Cinderella. And there were people saying, he should have stayed, or he could have really helped. No! Travis Perry wasn't going to play here. He wasn't going to move up the ladder to earn minutes. That's not a negative thing to Travis Perry. Who is he going to play over? There's no question in my mind he was going to be ahead of Jasper Johnson. I absolutely believe it. Where the hell were his minutes going to be? Where was his minutes going to be? So it'd be really nice if he would have stayed. Maybe he could have hit a couple shots, that kind of stuff. He wasn't going to play. Here's another thing. When he's sitting down and doing the interview, Beard brought him out for one of the games, and he brought other guys out as they were winning and trying to play Cinderella. He's much thicker. I mean, he's thick. It's interesting how he's grown and changed and lifted and all that kind of stuff. And, he's got physical liabilities. There's no question about it. He's not the quickest guy. He's not the tallest guy. He's a basketball player. He knows how to knock the ball away against the taller guy. Did that a few times. Really smart. So he's taken what he has and has done really well. And he might be really, really good next year. So if you think, well, maybe he'll come back here and stuff like that. Why? He's probably not going to start, and he wants to play. It's just baffling. Some of the thought process baffles. Here's another player, Hopkins, and I've said this before. He's a really good basketball player. I don't know if he's an NBA player. I don't know if he's going to get drafted. He'll play somewhere in the world for a long time. He's a really good college player, and he never got a chance here, and he was never comfortable here. And he went to Providence, ripped his knee, and he's come back and that kind of thing. And he wanted to play for Pitino so that Pitino would improve, and he has. And he's very efficient, and he's smooth. He's a hell of a basketball player. Would he start here now? Absolutely. But he was smart for leaving. He was smart. He was never going to get a chance here. Never going to get a chance here. That's not ripping Kentucky, and it's not ripping these kids. It's just life. You have to be comfortable in your own skin, and you have to be able to play through stuff. And by the way, when Onyenso left, was he great? No. It took him years to get better and better and better. It did. Would a coach at Kentucky have that kind of patience? Probably not. Probably not. And so sometimes, who is the kid who went to UCLA and is still in the NBA? Oh, from Los Angeles. Jaquez, right? Never had a chance here. Really good player at UCLA for years. It was smart for him to leave. And I remember at the time they're saying, well, he left because, he wanted to go back home and that kind of stuff. Or somebody said there was a girlfriend back there or something like that. And I said, the whole thing is BS. Had he been starting and playing here, do I think he would have left? No. Let me repeat, no. Okay, let's set up the show. Jonathan Davis, who I've already apologized privately, and I will publicly, although he'll say I shouldn't have to do it. Jimmy, I did something. You get to laugh at me. He's already in the waiting room. I did it again to Jonathan. He's coming up next. Nate Valentine, our buddy from way back at North Laurel, where they're getting ready to play the Sweet 16. We'll talk to him at 1 o'clock. And mazel tov to Robbie Graham. What a good dude. And Clark County, I think if I remember right, has been to the final game 4 times, and they finally won it. So Clark County wins the Sweet 16. I'm really, really happy for him. He's a really good dude. He's done a wonderful job there. And we want to say congratulations, talk a little basketball with him. I think that's the proper thing to do. And a good dude. So Sweet 16 boys are this week. And I'm going to go to some games. Also, programming note, Thursday and Friday, not on between 12 and 2. Lynn Martin has contracted for years and years, maybe, Jimmy, you know how many years, way before me, that they take all the NCAA games. So you can hear it here on 1300 AM and 92.5 FM, which is great. But I get X'd out because of the contract on the first weekend. This is my 4th year and happens every single year, and I get it. So what we're doing is I'm going to be at the Embassy Suites. Jimmy, I believe you are too. I believe Matthew is too, and I believe Brad Taylor is too. If I have it right, we're all kind of doing an hour pregame, and so I will do 10 to 11. And with Kentucky being the first game on Friday, it really sets up perfectly. Not that we knew it at the time, but it sets up perfectly. So that's Thursday and Friday. And then next week we go back to 12 to 2, and I'm 12 to 2 today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Jonathan Davis coming up next. Jonathan, I'm sorry. Jimmy, you promise not to laugh at me when I tell the world what mistake I made?
I'll do my best to try to hide my laughter if I do.
You know what? But you're very transparent, though. When you hide it, I can feel it. Not only do I see you, but I can feel it. See, you're already smiling. You're already having joy because I'm going to admit something I did. It's terrible. It just it really bothered me. And Jonathan is good with it. All right. Jonathan Davis coming up next. Mr. Shy. I'll tell you what's not shy when I talk about Quantrell and what they do for people. They take care of you with vehicles. They take care of you as people. And I have a tremendous respect for them. Driving should feel personal, protected, centered, completely at ease the moment you pull onto the road. That's the Volvo difference. We know that firsthand. Thoughtful design, quiet confidence, and safety always working in the background so you can simply breathe and drive. Plus, the luxury of Volvo, and I got to be honest, I hadn't been in one for years and years and years and years. And when we got in to drive it was like, oh, man, I was not expecting anything this smooth, just being honest. The luxury of Volvo, and it is luxury, is often more within reach than expected. And that was our thought, too. That's why Volvo deserves your first look. At Quattro Volvo, Bentley and Mark, they have built, and their friends, they have built a dealership that's calm, respectful, and genuinely helpful. Right now, 0.99%. That's 0.99%, 0.99% APR for 36 months on most 2026 models. See dealer for details. Visit QuattroVolvo.com. And don't forget about their Subarus and their Cadillacs. It's a wonderful dealership. I trust them. Been with them for about a decade. Seriously, it's a long time. Long time. There's a good reason, because they're terrific. Jonathan Davis coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment. Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
March is here, and Clark's Pump and Shop has the game-winning specials to keep you fueled all month long. Whether you're hitting the road to catch a game or hosting a watch party, we've got unbeatable monthly deals. Stop in and pick up assorted M&M or Twix share-size candy bars, 2 for $4, and Mike and Ike's or Hot Tamales stand-up bags, 2 for $7. This March, make every stop a winner at Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Driving should feel personal, protected, centered, completely at ease the moment you pull onto the road. That's the Volvo difference. Thoughtful design, quiet confidence, and safety always working in the background so you can simply breathe and drive. We love our VC60. Plus, the luxury of Volvo is often more within reach than expected. That's why Volvo deserves your first look. At Quattro Volvo, Bentley and Mark, friends of mine, they have built a dealership that's calm, respectful, and genuinely helpful. Right now, get 0.99%. That's 0.99% APR for 36 months on most 2026 models. See dealer for details. Visit QuattroVolvo.com today.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Honored and pleased that Jonathan Davis, who owns JT Davis Asset Management, is kind enough to join me. I think I need to apologize to your fiance first. I'm really sorry. And I'd like to say this is the first time I've done this to you, but that would be a lie. Have I done it 3 times?
Bro, like I said, we're both blessed to have women that love us. And when that happens, it's a double-edged sword.
Well,
And she decided she didn't like it. So she kept telling me this, and I finally had to tell you so that I could get her off my back.
okay.
But
Well,
I don't mind it at all. It's fine.
well, your fiance is right and you're wrong and I'm wrong. I spelled Jonathan's name incorrectly this
It was
morning.
close. It was close. I know what you meant.
Your kindness to me is much more than I deserve, and thank you very much. You're enjoying me waffling here, aren't you?
I am. I'm loving watching you squirm, man. I love it.
I am squirmed. You know what the bad news is? You know me too well.
Yes.
Let's put it this way. When I got the text from you, I used a word that I can't use on radio. Isn't one of those, well, I'll tease Jimmy and I'll go, hey, can I use this word? And you usually say, yeah, or you've already said it. This is not something I could ask Jimmy. Can I use the word? Okay. Let's move on. You know what? I'm starting to sweat ever since you appeared.
I like that. Yeah, a little turnabout fair play there, buddy.
Yeah, it is. I guess my job is to try to make you sweat. What do you think of where Kentucky's at? I personally think, it's fine. They got what they basically deserved. Until last night, there's nobody in the state, I believe, who's watched as much Santa Clara, because I always watch Santa Clara. They're not on national TV a lot, but it's been set to tape, whatever. I think it's Herbie's best team. They're called a three-point shooting team, but the percentage is exactly like Kentucky. They average 29 threes. Their spacing on the court is beautiful. I love his offense. It's a better run offense at Kentucky. It's not a knock on Pope or the team. It's just a better run offense. It's not even close, by the way. Do I think Kentucky will win? Absolutely. Should they win? Absolutely. Could they lose? Anybody can almost beat anybody, in this kind of thing. So they should absolutely win. Your thought on Herb, and then I want to go to why I don't like their bracket, but I'm not mad at the NCAA. You go first, Jonathan.
Well, Herb Sendek was a grad assistant on Rick's first UK team that I was on. So I have a very long relationship with Herb Sendek. Very
hold it. Not a grad assistant. He was a full assistant.
That's right. He's a full. I'm sorry, full assistant. We used to tease him, but yeah, he's a full assistant. Yes.
Whoa, no. What did you used to tease him at? Because he had a.
What? It's not for public consumption. It's not for the radio. It's not for the radio. But
okay. You're going to tell me something on a text that I can't use on the air.
I might tell you later.
Okay,
but,
not now.
Yeah. Great guy, super bright guy, and like you said, probably his best team. I also watched a few Santa Clara games, late games. He's got some pretty good players. He's got some guys that if they want to jump up to a higher level, maybe get a big NIL check next year, they could if they wanted to. That's kind of the way of the world right now. He's got 3 kids they're all first team all conference. This is not some fluky team that won a couple of games in their conference tournament and now they're in the big dance by accident or mistake. He's got a pretty good team. And what concerns me the most about UK playing that team at this time is, yes, they take a lot of threes and they miss a lot of threes, but they only got to make a lot of threes one time, and that's when they play us. You see what I'm saying? They take a lot of threes and their percentage is not great. But what if they're not even hot, but just a little better than average? And what if we don't shoot that great? All of a sudden, that 3-point favorite, 3.5-point favorite that we are right now, according to the Vegas guys, we can lose this game by 10 points easily. I'm not saying we're going to lose by 10 points. I'm just saying the potential to get beat is definitely there. It's not going to be a cakewalk. It's not a team that we're going to line up and run over. This is going to be a real game, and it could go down to the very last shot. And another thing that's at play here as well is that Mark's seat is not hot. But Mark would admit to himself, I'm sure, his seats maybe get a little bit warm. And you think a guy like Herb Sendek, who, has Kentucky ties, anybody who's ever been at Kentucky, their goal is always to get back to Kentucky. Let's say that they upset us. Let's say that they beat us. Let's say that, again, worst case scenario, Kentucky, we fall on our faces next year and then all of a sudden Mark's out. But if Santa Clara beats us and maybe wins another game, they're a Sweet 16 this year. And then next year, we're looking at casting about for new coaches or somebody to take over the top spot here. Herb will get his name back in the consideration. That's something we got to be concerned about too, because trust me, he'll never say it publicly, but I promise you that that's something that's in the back of his mind. If I beat Kentucky, I'm back in the mix with the big guys again.
I'm going to guess he's probably going to stay at Santa Clara. He got a contract extension last year, and the AD says he wants to tie him up more. One of the things that Dick Hoop's Weiss told me, and this would make a lot of sense, he was his first gig was at Providence under Pitino. and I could see Providence wanting him and pay him a bunch more, like a whole bunch more. But yeah, I don't know what he's going to do, and I'm not. He's on the show tomorrow, but I'm not going to ask him because he's not going to tell me. So
No, he never tell you that.
You're
He'll
right.
never tell you
So
that.
why ask a question? You know what? I can't stand the people who do the big political interviews and stuff like that when they ask a question when they know it can't be answered.
Can't answer it.
Or you know, hey, you're in negotiations like this. What are you going to do? Right. I'm going to tell you on TV what I'm going to do, which gives me no negotiating ploy whatsoever.
That's right.
I want to. They do this so many times. I'll show you how tough I am. I want to take a bar of soap and say, "Why don't you chew on this for a while?" I mean, have a little common sense. I am tough. I'll ask a question that no lawyer in the world would allow you to answer. Anyway,
Right. Right. Absolutely.
neither here nor there. Here's why I don't like the setup for Kentucky. Not mad at the NCAA at all. I'm mad at Kentucky. If I'm a Kentucky fan, I'm mad at Kentucky. You want to know why? Because there's at least 2 or 3 games easily that Kentucky should have won. Look, everybody has who's lost 10 games probably has games like that. So this is not unusual. But that 7 seed sucks because they're probably going to have to play Iowa State. And I don't know if I talked about this with you, but when Cal left, I put 5 names together, and one of the names was TJ that I would talk to. I think he's one of the best coaches in the country.
He's good.
And whether they talk to him or not, I have absolutely unequivocally no idea. I
He's
don't.
good.
And Otzelberger is one of the better coaches in America. And because he's at Iowa State, people don't know, maybe he gets to the Final Four, that kind of stuff. And so if I'm a Kentucky fan, I'm upset that they're a 7 seed. And this is Kentucky. And this is not the way Kentucky's supposed to be. And if that's being negative, so be it. But you can't have it both ways. You're either up there as a blue blood or not. And Kentucky needs to show that they are a blue blood program, which they've been for 1,000 years. They're not right now. Let's put it this way. Right now, if you would put together 4 or 5 blue bloods, would you put Kentucky in there?
From a historical standpoint, yes. But obviously, the last couple of years, we've not been great. But historically, we're still there. But hang on by a thread, Alan. We're headed in the direction of UCLA. UCLA has won all these championships. They've got all these great players, but nobody thinks of them as a blue blood. Even Indiana, same thing with them. They've fallen on such hard times for such an extended period of time, that nobody looks at Indiana as a blue blood. We're still there, but by a thread. Another mediocre season or two, all of a sudden we're not really in the conversation anymore. That's my opinion. And look at this too. Look at this. We're also talking about Kentucky as being a stepping stone for an up-and-coming coach to crush us and negotiate a bigger contract or have a shot at the big boys. When did we become anybody's stepping stone? I mean, that's kind of where we are right now. Teams look at us and they lick their chops and say, man, if I could beat Kentucky, all of a sudden I'm looked at differently. I'm a different guy. And that's just not where we want to be at right now. We know we've got some work to do. Again, I'm all in on the staff we have. I'm still 100% behind Mark. I think he's our guy still. We got to win. We have to win this game coming up. And we can't look down the road to Iowa State. We got to win this game that's in front of us against Sarah Claire. We got to win. I don't care if it's by 1 point or by 10 points. We have to win the game. And we can't look down the road at all. We got to win.
Jonathan Davis, owner of JT Davis Management. See, I spelled it right with my mouth. It's kind enough to join us for a couple more minutes. I don't get it. My world doesn't change because he didn't do it. It is a tradition at Kentucky. Pope says he's all about tradition. I sent a text to Deb Moore, who quickly answered that the reason why Pope didn't talk to the media last night, they wanted to have a private party. Okay by me. Wherever the private party was, could Pope have stepped outside and said, look, I'll do 8-9 minutes and that's it because we have a private party going on. I think he made a mistake. I think he should have talked to the media. Apparently, he might not talk outside his coach's show until he's on site at St. Louis. I'm not 100% sure about that. I've heard that from a couple different places. If I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. I'm just what I've heard. Here's the point. As you think about this, my dear friend, Dr. John Wong, co-author in his first book, my only book, I ain't doing another one, in Cut to the Chase, he's in witness protection. Did you hear him on any selection shows? Beginning of the end? Question mark. And so I said, hey, Doc, somebody says to me something strong, friendships are secondary to putting stuff on the show. So he said, sure. And then one of the things we go back, he goes, lockdown mode. Weird, isn't it? Now, let me throw on more as you're thinking about this. So the other day, I was proud of him because he asked the question that needed to be asked, but he did it in a professional way with the right tone of voice. So with all this talk about fatigue, yeah, everybody's got different opinions, okay? Like, bearded old Nessie sitting there with the folks in the SEC. Or not fear, we got momentum. I want momentum, not fatigue. And every other coach that I heard when asked about fatigue that was still playing said, we're dealing with it. We're fine. We're playing whatever, which is the right thing to say. And I get that. So I have criticized his fatigue comments. I don't get it. When you tell a kid that after 4 minutes, this thing that you measure says you're not as good, you're putting it in your cranium that you're not as good, so you're not going to play as hard. People get in better shape and they push through it. I'm old school. You're nodding your head. I'm going to shut up in a second and shut my mic off so you can go on. But my point is this. He asked the question, do you regret with all your things you said about fatigue? Pope gave a one-word answer, said no, and then he turned his head and looked away. And I think his answer was more important than Dr. John Wong's question. I'm trying to remember if there's been many questions since he's been here where he just says one word and that's it. And I'm reading into it. He looked ticked at the question. So this is Kentucky. It's a fair question. I'm surprised it hasn't been asked before. So, Jonathan Davis, what say you about these two things?
First of all, I think it's a very fair question, and also, I'm it's quizzical to me that Mark, having come up in a program like Kentucky, where back when Frick was the coach and back when he played, our whole thing was to get in superior physical condition, and that we were going to push through mental barriers and be able to outlast our opponents. For him to talk about things like fatigue or being tired, that's not even part of our. That wasn't part of our vocabulary at all. So I'm confused by that, and I'm concerned by it. The lockdown mode, I kind of get it, where they feel like it's us against the world, and we got to, hunker down, and and just the guys in this room, and we're going to do this thing. But to your point, you're right. You can do. I feel like he could have done this lockdown mode thing regarding his players and maybe the staff, but he still could have stepped out for 5 minutes and addressed the media. So I'm confused by that as well. Both those things to me are quizzical. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't. I don't agree with them. More importantly.
What's the big deal? People want to hear from Mark Pope.
He's under pressure, man. I mean, again, I'm a big believer in when somebody's doing something I don't fully understand. I try to best I can get outside of myself and look at the world through their eyes. If I was him right now, he came in with a lot of on one hand, a lot of fanfare. All the Kentucky insiders, we all still are 100% behind him. There was a faction of people who maybe weren't so excited about him being here, but he came in with, for the most part, fanfare. We were excited about him being here, getting started, going in a different direction, and things have not worked out the last 2 years the way we would have liked them to. Now, have there been some things outside of his control? Yes. But again, going back to Patino, which I hate doing this, comparing the two, but going back to him, one of the great lessons I learned from him, was that you can't, even though you can't control everything that's going on around you, what you can control is yourself. If you prepare yourself and put yourself in a position to be successful, all the things that you want to have happen, those things can still happen. You can't worry about external factors. You have to prepare yourself to be successful. And I took that lesson, and I've been able to use that in other aspects of my life. And again, I'm confused that Mark, is doing it in such a different way. I know the times are different, but there's some things that are just tried and true. And being tired, fatigue, and ducking the media, those things to me are just not the Kentucky way, and I'm confused by that. Hopefully, time will tell that things will be different, but right now I'm not on board with that.
Here's one of the ways that I defend Pope, I think, tremendously. Look, they finished, as everybody knows, they made it to the Sweet 16 last year, and the loss of Jackson Robinson with that broken bone, and the loss of Butler with the shoulder.
Huge.
And people said, well, Butler hurt his shoulder. It's the training staff. No, Butler is built like a football player. And I was there when he got hit. He got hit at unfortunately, about the perfect spot, and I thought they went after him. And criticizing the training staff for that, I thought was ridiculous. So let me throw this at you. And I've said this many times. Had they been healthy, it wouldn't have surprised me had they gotten to at least the final 8. I mean that. If you had Jackson Robinson and Butler, it's a much better team. So, I don't know, 7, 8 days ago, I made mention Jackson Robinson had 34, 35 points in the G League game, something like that. The other night, you ready for these numbers? 42 points, 9 rebounds, made 8 threes, shot 74% from the field. So, had Kentucky made the final 8 last year, do you think Pope would be taking as much crap as he's taking now?
No, I don't. And you're right, Allie. We had momentum at that point. We were playing very well before those 2 guys got hurt, and Elite 8 was very reasonable for that team. They were a very good team. They were solid. They played well. They played together, and those 2 guys getting hurt definitely set us back.
And Jackson Robinson, if I remember right, had played his best 5 games leading up to that. Leading up to that injury. So
he was on a roll. He was on a roll.
Are we not being fair to Pope? Those that are saying and questioning it's a blue blood. For example, let's say he got to the Final Four last year. And I'm not saying he would have, but do I think they probably would have beaten Tennessee with Butler and Robinson? I did then and I do now. Still could be wrong, but that would be my thought process. I think the perception of Mark would be better. I think he would be taking less heat now. And so sometimes injuries are part of it. So who's being fair and who's not?
That's a fair statement. I think that right now, his main focus should be on winning against Santa Clara. If we can get past Santa Clara and somehow, beat Iowa State and we get to the Sweet 16 again, I think he's back again. He's back into the conversation of, having a high, people looking at him with a higher esteem that he can coach, that he can produce at this level. But right now, we're one game at a time. We're at where it's red alert. It's all hands on deck. I get the hunkering down thing. I don't get him not addressing the media at all, but I do get him sequestering everybody and saying, hey, you know what? We're not going to be outward looking at all. We're going to be totally inward facing, and we're going to depend on each other and try to get through this thing together. I get that from a team aspect, but what I don't get is, not talking to the media. I don't get that part at all. I don't get that.
Kenny Rice, who does the show all the time. We broke bread, the 3 of us, over the weekend. Said this, and I said, Kenny, you okay with me using it? He said, sure. About Pope not talking to the media. Over his head. Bad luck. Pope not having players gathered to watch selection. Should have been at his house. He's lost.
That's a strong statement, but you know what? I can't disagree with it. I wouldn't have said it because I like Pope, but I don't disagree with what he said at all. I don't disagree with it.
And if you're just joining us, as I mentioned, Deb Moore, sports information director for basketball, when I texted this morning, said that they decided to do a private party, which that's fine. I'm not questioning that, but you could come outside, and if you don't want the cameras inside, which I also respect. I never understood. It was shocking to me that Cal let cameras in his house. We'd sit around and watch, and we could shoot it, and then outside he would talk to us. And it was shocking to me, as tight as Cal was with stuff, that he was so open about it. Let all these media people in his living room and that kind of stuff, and we were everywhere. And it was against so many other things that he did, but he did that. But Cal wasn't the only one. I just think that part of the job at this place is to be a lot more transparent.
I agree. I wouldn't want the job for $1 million, but I mean, I agree. Part of being the guy in that seat, you have to have a very thick skin and a different way of looking at things, to where transparency in a family will be different than transparency in that arena. And you got to be able to let people in and see what's going on behind the scenes to a certain extent. And him sequestering everybody like that, that's not the way to go. It's really not.
Ooh, sequestering. I like that word in that sentence.
Yeah.
That fits very well.
Yeah.
See, I'm just finished beet juice and parsley.
Nice.
Organic that I made, and maybe that'll help me elevate my vocabulary to yours. By the way, you shouldn't drink this because it would really help you grow your hair.
Oh, wow.
I'm being That couldn't that was being nasty. That was a dig. The other thing was not a dig. Okay, let me throw this at you. I had a couple people, and I know people are talking about this. Couple of people came at me, not nastily. Oh, Perry should have stayed. Maybe he could have hit a shot. Perry had a hell of a weekend. And by the way, he's thicker. I mean, he's been pounding the weights and whatever, and he is taking some of his deficiencies. Not really tall, can't jump really high compared to the guys. He knocks some balls away loose on bigger guys because he gets down low and knocks it away. He's really getting so much more out of what he has, and I think he'll be even better next year. And point is this: he shouldn't have stayed. He wasn't going to play.
No.
Anienzo shouldn't have stayed. He wasn't going to play.
No.
Hopkins didn't stay because he wasn't going to play. Anienzo had 9 blocks in 22 minutes. 9 blocks, 8 rebounds, 6 points. Jonathan, don't take this bet. Don't take this bet. He will be a backup in the NBA forever.
Yeah.
He sprints the court.
Mm-hmm.
He's a smart kid. Yep. His effort is spectacular on a team like Oklahoma City. They drafted Wallace. Well, I keep on saying I thought his offense would be better by now, but they drafted him because he's a great defensive player, and they got 3 other guys that can put the ball in the hole and guys off the bench. It's really smart. I look at him coming off the bench for Oklahoma City, playing 12, 14 minutes a game forever. But these kids had to leave. You've got to play. And if for some reason there are too many players, or it's deemed that the coach wants and picks somebody else over you, which is a coach's right. I'm not ripping Cal for any of this, by the way. I'm not. But if you're not going to play, you need to go someplace to play. And by the way, it's not like Anienzo left and all of a sudden was blocking 9 shots a game. It took him a while. Okay. Right. Jonathan, it takes big men sometimes longer. Okay. So what? So I'm happy for these kids, but they did the right thing by leaving. Now, if Anienzo was on this team, would Kentucky be better? Absolutely. If Hopkins was on this team, would Kentucky be better? Absolutely. If Perry was on this team right now, he'd still be on the bench.
I agree. And you know what? Something you touched on about that kid being a backup in the NBA for many years. It goes back to a conversation that you and I had offline where we talked about the fact that the NBA being 2% superstars and 98% role players, and guys finding their role and finding their niche and figuring out what lane do I fit in. And there are guys in college who are quote unquote, superstars in college who are going to be role players in the NBA. And there are a lot of guys that, for whatever reason, can't make that leap mentally. They still think of themselves as a superstar. And when you go play with Steph Curry on that team, your role's not going to be the superstar. Your role's going to be to get the ball to Steph Curry. Your role's going to be, to back up those superstar guys. And, sometimes you got to figure out, who am I as a ball player? Yes, I'm the best player on this team, but can I do the things that make me a serviceable role player in the NBA? If that's what your goal is, it's going to be a different role than what you would have if you're playing in college. It's a different ball game. You're not going to be a superstar in the NBA. It's just 2% of the guys that are going to be that guy. It's probably not going to be you, but you can still find a place and make some money doing that.
Agree. Anything else about Kentucky that sticks out in your cranium?
Oh my gosh, there's so many things. My mind's swirling right now. But like I said, I'm doing the Patino thing. I'm focusing on one thing, and that is we have to beat Santa Clara. Don't worry about the next game. Don't worry about the Final Four. Forget about all that stuff. We have to win the game in front of us. Have to.
Got a quick comment on Patino winning the Big East 2 years in a row. It's never been done before.
You know what? No one's saying that guy can't produce. You like him, love him, hate him, whatever it is. The guy produces at a very high level. So kudos to him. I'm happy for him. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's in the Final Four. I look at the field. I look at the talent that's out there. I look at the coaches that are out there. I look at his bracket. He can come out of that bracket. He could.
Yeah, he could. Yep. Mr. Davis, would you do me a favor?
Yes, sir.
I don't know if your fiance is listening, but would you pass on my apologies to her?
I will do that, sir. Yes, I will.
Do you think I'll be in better graces when you communicate properly?
I can smooth it over so that when she sees you, she won't slap you. I can make it happen. I'll figure it out.
That was strong. I wasn't expecting that. Bless you, brother. Get the hell off my phone after that. Again, you got the last sig in. Look at you. You're really proud of yourself, aren't you?
I was saving that one.
Thanks, Jonathan. Have a great day.
Good to see you, brother. Have a
See
good
you,
one.
man.
Later.
Jimmy, you're smiling, Jimmy, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Is that your favorite part of the show when some of the regular guests, which I'm so fortunate to have, zing me?
Yeah, and I do remember this happening before with Jonathan's name. It was one time he came in studio, and you had spelled it wrong promoting the show or something like that. But I had a friend growing up who spelled it the same way Jonathan does. Everyone always misspelled his name. They always put an A at the end.
Now, why the hell didn't you say that when he was with me? You wait till he's gone?
We actually gave him a nickname. We called him John O because it kind of helped you remember there's an O at the end.
The one time you could have helped me. You just waited.
My mic, I just got it fixed. Now it was working again.
Oh, your microphone was broken, and all of a sudden, Sean, the engineer, or you, the engineer, fixed it. It's a good thing your nose doesn't grow every time you lie to me. And I won't lie to you when I tell you Terry Page is great. Not a very good, a great licensed massage therapist. She's in Butler, Kentucky today and tomorrow, Lexington Thursday and Friday. Consider using her. She's a healer. She can give you a nice, comfortable massage. I've never gotten a smooth massage. It's always working on my problems because I always have issues. And it's amazing how she helps your issues. Amazing. Check her out. Please use my name. Call her, text her, 859-373-0578, 859-373-0578. Her new office, 820 Porter Place, Suite 3, right off Versailles Road. Not too far from downtown. When you get to Porter Place, if you're coming from downtown, you make a left, go to the end of the block. And on the side, there's the entrance. It's a much bigger place, and she's fixing it up, and she's been great for me. Check her out. Terry Page, 859-373-0578. Nate Valentine, gone back to the Sweet 16. Coming up next, Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment. Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313. Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Driving should feel personal, protected, centered, completely at ease the moment you pull onto the road. That's the Volvo difference. Thoughtful design, quiet confidence, and safety always working in the background so you can simply breathe and drive. We love our VC60. Plus, the luxury of Volvo is often more within reach than expected. That's why Volvo deserves your first look. At Quantrell Volvo, Brentley and Mark, friends of mine, they have built a dealership that's calm, respectful, and genuinely helpful. Right now, get 0.99%. That's 0.99% APR for 36 months on most 2026 models. See dealer for details. Visit QuantrellVolvo.com today.
March is here, and Clark's Pump and Shop has the game-winning specials to keep you fueled all month long. Whether you're hitting the road to catch a game or hosting a watch party, we've got unbeatable monthly deals. Stop in and pick up assorted M&M or Twix share-size candy bars, 2 for $4, and Mike and Ike's or Hot Tamales stand-up bags, 2 for $7. This March, make every stop a winner at Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
W223CV Lexington.
ESPN Sports Radio 1392.5, WLXG Lexington, and LM Communications Broadcasting Station.
March is here, and Clark's Pump and Shop has the game-winning specials to keep you fueled all month long. Whether you're hitting the road to catch a game or hosting a watch party, we've got unbeatable monthly deals. Stop in and pick up Bud Dig lunch meat, 5 for $5, and Jolly Rancher, Shakalicious, or Twizzler peg bags, 2 for $6. This March, make every stop a winner at Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
The only no-filter sports show in Kentucky. It's the Alan Cutler Show with award-winning TV sportscaster Alan Cutler.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. Thank you to Jonathan Davis for joining us. Robbie Graham, who just won the Sweet 16 at Clark County, will be joining us at 1:30. And now an old friend who is one of the best high school basketball coaches in Kentucky as a person and as a coach, going back to the Sweet 16 again, from North Laurel High School, Nate Valentine. Nate, how are you? You're having a hell of a year.
I'm doing great. I appreciate that. Happy to be back on the show.
So you guys going to win the whole thing? Tell us your strengths as you get ready for the greatest show on earth.
Yeah, we're going to try. I mean, the first key is obviously getting there. You know, that's one thing we wanted to do is be able to get there and have some consistency and keep getting back. I think the more times you go, the more experience you have, the better shot you have at it. We certainly got a tough road ahead of us. I think Warren Central's number one in the RPI, and then you got Covcath and St. X, another two top teams on the other side of the bracket waiting for us if we win. So, but we're excited to get back. I feel like we're well prepared. I feel like we're playing well right now. So, it should be a good game.
And when you were at LCA, you won the All-A state championship. You've now been to the Sweet 16 many, many, many times. Your kids start this season with a different attitude than your first year based upon there's now, you've been there long enough, you've got tradition of winning.
Yeah, I think so. I think that helps. I mean, even from my playing days in high school, we hadn't made the state tournament in a long time, and then we ended up going my senior year, and then they ended up going back like six out of the next seven, and won the state championship in 2005. So, I think it breeds success, but I think our guys have a different expectation now. Those guys were in middle school when we first started going, and they saw it and they said, "Hey, that looks like a lot of fun. We want to be a part of it too." But they saw what those other guys did and how they had to work to get there. So, I think our goal is definitely to get back to state tournament, and we really want to get to Saturday. That if you get to Saturday, I think you have a great shot at it. And but you got it. You have to win the first game to do that.
So that's interesting. So your kids, when they're fifth and sixth grade and maybe before, look up to the kids on your team now and say, "Hey, I want to do that too." And you've got younger people working harder because of the success at North Laurel High?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's one of the, I think that's one of the advantages that coaching at a school like North Laurel is, the elementary schools that feed into North, we're heavily involved in. We have a really good elementary program where they can play as fourth and fifth graders for their elementary school and represent their school and kind of get a taste of what it's all about. We try to get down there as much as we can, go to some practices, take them T-shirts, have them to our games, and just, make it one big program so that they feel a part of it. And they see how these guys do it. The more those guys are around, I like having them in practice and just being able to see and be around our guys, I think, is a big advantage that a lot of bigger schools don't have.
That's really smart. So you're recruiting at an early age.
Yeah, there are kids, but there are kids. They're coming to North. So, but yeah, you got to recruit your own. They got to feel a part of it, know that they're wanted here. And, I think it gets ingrained in them and they know what they want to do. They said one day I want to play in the state tournament. So, I think it definitely helps us.
And how much does it help you that you have camps and stuff like that? So you have a bit of a quote unquote hands-on with some of these kids, showing them drills and those kinds of things.
I think it's really good. I mean, it's, I can remember the same kids we have now are the same kids that were coming to camp when I got here. They were coming to camp every day, and it's hard to look that far ahead, but in reality, those guys that are coming to our basketball camps are the guys that will be helping us win games in the future. So, as much as we can get to know them as they're younger and be a part of them and, try to help develop those kids as much as we can, I think helps.
Reed Shepherd has to be one of the most improved players in the world between last year and this year. And it's remarkable how he's doing. He's improved even quicker than I thought. Maybe not what you thought, but what I thought. I mean, he's turning into an STAR.
I think I told you at the beginning of the year, when we were on at the beginning of the school year, he was going to have a big year, and just I think the experience, him getting his body a little better, but the experience of learning how to play against, 30-year-olds. But he's getting a ton of confidence. He's getting a ton of opportunity now, and nothing he does surprises me. And I think back all the time to when he committed to Kentucky, how many people I had say, "You don't really think he's going to play there, do you?" And it's like, yeah, I do. And it's even I can remember a lot. All those NBA guys, they start calling, his junior and senior year, and they do a ton of homework before they draft those guys. And I told every one of them, I fully believe Reed will be an NBA All-Star one day. and I'm sure they sit there and say, well, that's the North Laurel High School coach. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But I've just seen Reed do it in every arena that he's been in, against every, any competition that we have. He rises to the top, and certainly happy for his success, and not surprised by anything that he's going to do in the future.
Nate, I'm seeing clips where he's bringing the ball up court, doesn't pass to anybody, and throws it up from like the logo, like it's nothing. And the first time I saw it, it was kind of like and nothing but net. It is unbelievable, not just his passing, but some of the shots that Reed is taking. You have to have unbelievable confidence just to put up a shot like that. And it's nothing but, four guys are standing around. He's got the ball. He's just coming up and boom, he's throwing a 35-footer.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like I think he had to grow. I think mentally, I think that was one of the biggest things that he had to grow into. Even in high school, he would play when he needed to, and then he would just defer to his teammates. If we got a lead, he would defer to his teammates, and I would have to say like, okay, this is back to 10, Reed. I need you. You got to go score again. But that's not really his game. He's an unselfish player and likes to get everybody else involved. And I think being the man and taking, quote unquote, what is probably a bad shot for many is a good shot for him. And him having to just figure that out and know that his coaches and his teammates have the confidence in him to take those shots. And I think they've done a great job pushing him into that role.
They have pushed him in. What's really cool, it's obvious how much his teammates really, really like him.
Yeah, he's a likable guy. I mean, he's humble. He's going to keep it about the team at all times and, never take any of the credit. And he's just a great locker room guy, I'm sure. And, he's got some really good ones, some good veterans to learn under. I think, Durant's obviously been really good for him, and Jeff Green and some of those guys take him under his wing. So, and even Van Fleet, I think he's been great for him. You can see him coaching him up a lot in timeouts. And, I think they definitely believe that he's a big part of their future, and they want to invest in him as much as possible.
Let's flip back to high school basketball. Is everything the way you want it? If you want to change anything in high school basketball, is there anything you would change? Or are you saying, hey, the game is beautiful, maybe it needs a little couple tweaks, but just your thought on high school basketball today versus when you started coaching?
I like the way it is. There's times when you get frustrated when you can't, bring home the big trophy, and, just transparently, you look at football and there's 6 state champions out there, and there's a lot of guys that have won a lot of games on the boys side. You look at a guy like Dave Faust that was at St. Henry. I think he won 3 or 4 of the All-A state titles, which is the bottom 120 in enrollment. That's a legendary coach, and not all the time in high school basketball in Kentucky do people realize that. But again, when you have a chance to compete for a state championship and there's one true state champion, it makes it really special. And just hope that, I remember hoping one day I could get to Rupp Arena. That was the goal. If I coach 30 years, I hope I can play in Rupp Arena one time. And you just never know. We've won 4 out of 5 region titles here, and I tell our guys all the time, don't take it for granted, because you may not win another one. You never know. You can be the best team. The best team does always win. You got to have a lot of luck, and you got to stay healthy, and timing has to be right. So we just try not to take it for granted and try to get back there. And, it would be incredible to make it to Saturday and have a shot at it.
Got a comment about playing Warren Central?
Warren Central's really good. I mean, obviously they got a coach that's won a state title and a runner-up and multiple region championships, and he does an unbelievable job, and they're really good. They play a lot of guys and play really, really fast. So it'll be kind of a contrast of styles and seeing which one will win out on that. But they play so hard and play so many guys and get so many hands on balls. They can wreak havoc on you defensively. I mean, they blew through the region tournament pretty much with ease. So, but it'll be a challenge for us, but we're excited about it.
Always appreciate your time. Wishing you nothing but the best. Making the Sweet 16 4 out of 5 years. That's big time, pal. That's big time. We're proud of you, and you do it the right way, taking care of kids and caring about kids. And I think in today's world, that needs to be. I think it needs to be emphasized just a little bit more.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, we've got really good kids and really good families. I've said it before. I mean, you can't do it without parents that support what you're doing and realize there's a bigger mission to it. And, it's like this year, we lost 3 games in a row in February, and our parents and players never flinched, and sometimes you have to worry about making a difficult schedule because okay, let's say we have a little bit of adversity. Is everybody going to be able to stay on board with you? And the group of parents that we have right now are phenomenal, and none of this would happen without them. So just thankful to be here.
Always happy and proud of your success, dude. You do it the right way. Thanks for joining me. I know you got a million things going on. I appreciate you.
Yep. Thanks, Alan.
Have a good day. Nate Valentine. Tell you what, North Lowell, Jimmy, it's a program. 4 out of 5 years making the Sweet 16. 4 out of 5 years. That's better than pretty good. And I really like how he talked about, he gets the younger kids. He, goes watching them play, brings them T-shirts, likes to have them in practice, that kind of thing. So, some of the kids on his team now, he's been around there long enough now that they were playing elementary school ball. And it's not unusual, and I hear this a bunch through the years, that when somebody has a really good program, they have great connections with what's called the feeder programs. And I think it's important that some of these younger kids look up to some of the kids who are on the team now, and some of those kids used to look up to other guys. So it's really, really good, really special, really happy for him. I'm going to try to go to a bunch of Sweet 16 games. Always enjoy it. And it's just, Sweet 16 is great. It's a very, very, very special event, as everyone knows. Coming up at 1:30, Robbie Graham, who just won the Sweet 16 for Clark County. Really happy for him. Done it the right way. Also, you got 2 high school coaches that do it the right way. You're always happy for their success. Hey, my friend Ramon Carriega at Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914, 859-533-0914. Acupuncture, now also providing a licensed massage therapist. So many different ways Ramon can help you. He's really close to Terry Page, a couple blocks. Well, actually, a block and a half away. Andra Sales Road, just off of it. Check him out. Blue Lotus Health. Please use my name. Acupuncture. A very special way of healing that I will never understand. It's been explained to me. It's way above me, but I know it's helped me, and it works. Use my name. Check him out. 859-533-0914. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313. Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Driving should feel personal, protected, centered, completely at ease the moment you pull onto the road. That's the Volvo difference. Thoughtful design, quiet confidence, and safety always working in the background so you can simply breathe and drive. We love our VC60. Plus, the luxury of Volvo is often more within reach than expected. That's why Volvo deserves your first look. At Quantrell Volvo, Brentley and Mark, friends of mine, they have built a dealership that's calm, respectful, and genuinely helpful. Right now, get 0.99%. That's 0.99% APR for 36 months on most 2026 models. See dealer for details. Visit QuantrellVolvo.com today.
March is here. Clark's Pump and Shop has the game-winning specials to keep you fueled all month long. Whether you're hitting the road to catch a game or hosting a watch party, we've got unbeatable monthly deals. Stop in and pick up assorted M&M or Twix share-size candy bars, 2 for $4, and Mike and Ike's or Hot Tamales stand-up bags, 2 for $7. This March, make every stop a winner at Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. We had Robbie Graham scheduled for 1:30, but he's in a little early, so we're going to go to him earlier as we're going high school and high school. Keep the theme for this half hour. Always proud of Nate Valentine, what he's done. And, Coach, mazel tov, congratulations. You've built a hell of a program at, pardon my French, at Clark County High. And you guys, if I remember right, had been to the championship game 4 times and hadn't won, and you finally won. Just explain the joy when the horn goes off and I say this with loving kindness. You're jumping around like crazy. You're looking for somebody to hug. I saw the clip of him going, it's Jim Valvano all over again. I mean, the joy you have. Can you describe that joy?
Well, first of all, the happiness and the joy is for our kids. Our kids work so hard. We're 6 days a week, 2 hours a day, and they put a lot of effort and a lot of time into it. And just to see the happiness and the joy on their face, and the little relief that we got there. Last year we lost, in the state championship game, and it was tough. We led up until the last minute, and we just kind of didn't make some plays to finish them off. And we got the silver ball, which is a runner-up. So our goal all year was to go out chase the gold ball. That was our preseason, our off season. Chase the gold ball. So it was just pure joy. And our community came out so strong Saturday night, and I just wanted to make sure they knew how much we appreciated them, and show them the thank you for coming out. And because there was a lot of red in the Rupp Arena, and that roar. We were down at halftime, and we came out and had a little run third quarter, and that place got really loud. And it was our GRC crowd, supporting us.
So when you lose like you did last year, when you thought you had the game won, with all the success that you've obviously had, how bad was your stomach for months? I mean, how bad did you have sleepless nights? I mean, the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat, the old ABC line, and that kind of stuff. Even with all the success that you've had, nobody can question your success. It's off the charts. But you didn't win that game. Did that? I don't know how else to say this. Did it haunt you a little bit?
Yeah, it went away Saturday night. To be honest with you, it really did. I mean, we chased it, and we thought we had it, and slipped through our fingers, and a lot of sleepless nights, and a lot of questioning. Could we done this? Could we done that? Watched it a few times, several times, and there was a stretch Saturday night where we were up and we had a turnover. Thought, man, deja vu, and I was like, nope, not gonna let it happen. Not gonna let it creep in. So it was really. It took about a year to get that feeling away, and and the agony of defeat is real. It's real, but the victory, the joy of victory is overwhelms the agony of defeat. I mean, it was, just a overwhelming sense of accomplishment and joy and happiness. And, for our kids and our families and our community and our school, our kids made history. This is the first time in our school's history to win a state championship. Had knocked on the door a few times and not made it. So what a tremendous accomplishment for this program.
Robbie Graham, the big time girls basketball coach at Clark County. You're supposed to say girls or women?
We say girls, we say women. We go by GRC hoops. It's kind of, I think Matthew Mitchell, he went UK hoops back in the day. So when I first got the job, we started going by GRC hoops. So that's what we say.
Okay. Okay. Because I know some people, I was pausing on you because some people like it said a certain way.
Yes.
And I'm not trying to be politically correct or not correct.
Right.
I'm too old to get into that.
Same here. We go by GRC hoops as well. That's kind of our MO is GRC hoops.
For now on, I'm going to say GRC hoops. That's easy, and I like it, and it's safe. It's safe.
Yeah,
it's safe. It's safe.
Absolutely.
I know you've thought about this a ton being a coach, but you hear so often that failure often pushes you over the top for success if you have the right makeup. You obviously have the right makeup. Your GRC Hoops team obviously has the right makeup. I'm asking this a question. I don't mean this in a mean way, but did failure help you? Did failure help you succeed?
It absolutely did. It drove us. For 365 days, that failure it stung. It hurt. It hurt our kids. It hurt our parents. It hurt our community. It stung, and our kids carry that with them every day. So when we started our summer basketball, we talked about, hey, we're going to go after the gold ball. That's the go. Chase that gold ball. When we started, school in the fall, in our workouts, gold ball. We're going to chase that gold ball. So it definitely fueled us. That failure fueled our success 100%.
To some of the players on last year's team who moved on, were they able to enjoy this as much as they should have based upon the fact they came close last year?
Well, I think we had a few of them there. Obviously Sierra's, Byers at University of Michigan, so she's a little busy right now, and but the ones that are around, from last year's team were there, and they all had reached out and sent text messages or calls, and and they were, Coach, we didn't get it done last year, but very happy for you. And one thing we talk about in our program, and I say this a lot, I coach our kids really hard, but I love them harder than I coach them, and I say that with all sincerity, and they all feel that, and they all know that. And because I'm tough, I'm not easy to play for, because we demand perfection. You know, we're not always going to play perfect, but we can always get perfect effort. And the one thing we talk about is our standard is very high. You know, the old Mike Thompson, the standard is the standard, and we've kind of adopted that saying in our program.
You feel any differently now that you've won a state championship?
You know, I feel a little sense of relief. You know, that's 14 years being the head coach here, and you know, I was 7 years assistant, and we made it to Rupp multiple times, but never won it. And it's just a sense of relief. Differently, you know, I mean, I'm happy. I'm just happy for our kids. You know, it's all about these kids. I'm an old guy, and you know, I'm insignificant in this thing. You know, those kids, you know, to see the joy and the happiness and the pep in their step, that's all that matters to me.
Pep in the step.
Yes.
I like that. Anything else about this year's team you want to share? A moment or one of your players or something?
Well, there are a few moments. So we played Assumption. That's who we played in the state championship. We played them back in December, and it was a triple overtime game, a heck of a game, one of the best high school games I've ever been part of. But after the game, their student section, parents, you know, they kind of stormed the court. So our kids are going back in the locker room, and I brought them back out of the locker room. I was like, guys, you know, we need to see this. I said, we're going to see them again Saturday night in Rupp. I just felt it. I just felt we were going to see them for the state championship game.
You told your kids after they beat you in a tremendous game during the regular season that you were going to see them again? You told them that early?
Yeah, we brought them back out of the locker room. Our kids were in the locker room. So we bring them back out of the locker room to see them celebrate beating us in December. And I told our kids, nobody brought a ladder out. Nobody brought scissors out. There's no nets being cut down. You know, We Are the Champion song's not playing. I said, we'll see them Saturday night in Rupp Arena. I just had that feeling. And I said, so lock this in and remember this, that after that game, we didn't lose another game. We won the rest of our games. And they're a good team. Assumption is really, really good. You know, they're a tremendous team, a lot of talent, well coached, and we knew it was going to be tough. But I wanted our kids to see, you know, remember this moment. You know, it's just a regular season, doesn't matter. So we saw them again, and we were able to get the win.
Happy for you, proud of you. You worked your tail off a long time. I've always heard good things about you, that you are tough, but you are fair and you love your kids. I'm all for toughness as long as you love your kids.
Absolutely. Love them with all my heart, just like they were my own kids.
Well, you know what? What parent of any of your players could ask for anything more?
Appreciate that.
Hey, Robbie, thanks for the time. I appreciate it. Go back to being on cloud nine, dude. I'm really happy for you. Look at the smile.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. A ton of respect for you. I've always enjoyed your work, and thank you for having me on. This meant a lot.
Well, you know what? Seeing your smile meant a lot because it's about as real and sincere as it gets. Thanks, Robbie. God bless you.
God bless you.
Have a great day.
You as well. Thank you.
See you. Jimmy, never heard a bad word. Never, ever. Always heard that one of these days he's going to get it. Seriously. This is, going back to when I was still doing TV. And his kids play with discipline, with heart, and with hustle. But how about that? They lose to Assumption in a great game during the regular season. He brings his kids back on the floor to see how they're celebrating and tells his kids, we're going to meet in the state championship. My gosh, what a story.
I don't think I've heard that on the high school level. Like, that's a move you see, like in the NFL, you see it a lot. The player that stays out, Stephon Diggs did it, Josh Allen's done it, to see the confetti fall so you can say, I'm going to do it.
Yep.
But at the high school level to do that, that's going to just instill so much in those kids moving forward. Sports, life, everything. Just being able to consume all of that and go, all right, this isn't the worst day of my life. We're going to get revenge.
And how many times adding to that in baseball where guys will just sit in the dugout and stare, and they lose a heartbreaker. They lose the World Series and they see him celebrating. It's interesting. Really happy for him. Really happy for the people at GRC. 1,000 years ago, they had an undefeated football team that won the state championship. And a whole bunch of those guys played college ball and whatever, and they were fast and they were really good. Had a T-shirt, no, a sweatshirt from that team, and I wore that sucker out. And it was funny. I would wear it to work out, and people would comment on that team a lot. So a lot of athletes there. But they've done it the right way, and congratulations to them. We'll talk a little Kentucky. What do you think? In all probability, coming up next. Alan Cutler, thank you so much to Jonathan Davis. Thank you so much for Robbie Graham now. Thank you so much for Nate Valentine. Fun show. By the way, tomorrow, we're going to play another Herb Sendek soundbite coming out of the break. But tomorrow, Herb Sendek will join us right at 12. And so I'm going to shorten the monologue for obvious reasons. And now Herb's done the show before. There'll be another first-time guest tomorrow, DA, Derek Anderson. And Jimmy, you know what? I admitted my mistake with Jonathan. Well, I did it with DA too. So I had texted him about 4 years ago, do you want to do the show? And texted him twice. And I thought I was always close with DA and no response. So, Jimmy, have you ever done this, talking about not doing things the right way? So I text him for something else, having nothing to do with doing the show, for another reason I don't want to get into. It's not important. And the guy sends me a text back. I don't know who you are, but this is a business number in California. So it took me about 5 minutes to get his real number. And then when I told DA how, I'm bad at this stuff, he laughed. He goes, I'd always do your show. I'll be honored to do your show. So he's doing it tomorrow. He should be a coach. He's a businessman, a very successful businessman, had a wonderful career in the NBA, and he should be a coach. There's no question about it. Not just because of his knowledge of basketball, but he's one of the finest persons that I've run across. Think about this, Jimmy. All the years that I covered Kentucky, he's up there with the common sense and what he went through. I mean, he was basically homeless for part of his high school career. And he's kind and caring and considerate and smart and has common sense. I think he'd be a great coach. Just a great coach. Anyway, we'll talk about whatever. Will be great catching up. So that will also be tomorrow with other things that we have planned. Once again, on Thursday and Friday, it's a little different. I'll be on from 10 to 11 from the Embassy Suites. If you want to come down and say hi, if you have a book, cut to the chase. If you want to bring it down, I'd be happy to sign it. Honored and happy to sign it. We're doing something different because with the contract that the LM Communications has with the NCAA tournament, Thursday and Friday in the first round, there's no sports talk in the afternoon because of the contract with having to play all the games as part of the contract. So we've done this. So we'll do, all of us are doing an hour, and then next Monday going back to normal programming. So we'll be on from 10 to 11 at the Embassy Suites if you want to come down. And we'll obviously do a lot on basketball and what's going on. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313. Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Driving should feel personal, protected, centered, completely at ease the moment you pull onto the road. That's the Volvo difference. Thoughtful design, quiet confidence, and safety always working in the background so you can simply breathe and drive. We love our VC60. Plus, the luxury of Volvo is often more within reach than expected. That's why Volvo deserves your first look. At Quantrell Volvo, Brentley and Mark, friends of mine, they have built a dealership that's calm, respectful, and genuinely helpful. Right now, get 0.99%. That's 0.99% APR for 36 months on most 2026 models. See dealer for details. Visit QuantrellVolvo.com today.
March is here, and Clark's Pump and Shop has the game-winning specials to keep you fueled all month long. Whether you're hitting the road to catch a game or hosting a watch party, we've got unbeatable monthly deals. Stop in and pick up assorted M&M or Twix share-size candy bars, 2 for $4, and Mike and Ike's or Hot Tamales stand-up bags, 2 for $7. This March, make every stop a winner at Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
It's March, and that means it's a perfect time to start betting with Circa Sports Kentucky. As you're looking to bet through the mayhem, Circa Sports is sports betting the way it should be. High betting limits, player-friendly pricing, plus a new enhanced in-game system so you can place the bets you want from tip to buzzer. Don't forget you can visit Kentucky's largest sports book, Circa Sports, at the Mint Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs. Download the Circa Sports app or visit circasports.com today.
Lead, maximize, and deliver results with LM Digital Agency. Locally owned and run right here in Lexington. Let us get you results at lmdigitalagency.com.
back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
But what you find is the most fulfilling part of the journey is the relationships, right? Each of us, when we process this, are ultimately going to come back to the relationships that we share. And this group in particular, I think, is very close. And like I just said, I mean, I love each and every one of them. They're special young men. And I consider it a great privilege to be able to coach them, be together with them day in and day out.
My friend Herb Sendek, who will be joining us straight up at noon tomorrow. And I believe, from watching him through the years, this is his best team. He's had individuals that were better. He's got a couple first rounders in the NBA from the last 5 years. And I've mentioned that many times because he's not recruiting kids that Duke wants, Kentucky wants, Alabama wants, those kinds of things. And they grow and develop. And I think he's a great coach. I think he's been a great coach for a long, long, long time. And as I've mentioned, and old timers know this, when Kentucky played that unbelievably famous game against Duke, that was his game plan. And if I remember right, and I'm going to try to remember to ask him tomorrow, I think he stayed up all night putting the game plan together. Considered one of the greatest games of all time. Really, really smart dude. You know, he was at NC State for a long time, and they didn't think he could win enough, and then go look until they made the Final Four a couple of years ago. Did anybody do better? No, he was at Arizona State, and they thought he didn't win enough. And after he left, did they do better? No. Did a wonderful job at Miami of Ohio, which got him his first gig, his next gig, and he's done a wonderful job at Santa Clara. He really has. And I love his offense. Love how they spread the court. And they're known as a three-point shooting team, but they don't shoot any better than Kentucky. It's the same percentage, but they take more. So what was it, 30 or 35 that Pope wanted, Jimmy, as I recall, when he got here? He wanted to shoot that many threes, and it's never worked out that way, and he hasn't recruited the right kind of talent. I don't remember if it was 30 or 35 or he said both. Whatever. They shoot 29 threes a game. And as Jonathan Davis said, and you know that, if all of a sudden they're hitting 39, 40% of the threes, Kentucky's in trouble. They are. Do I think Kentucky will be on them? I do. Do I expect Kentucky to win? I do. But come on, if you happen to be that hot. Here's the other thing. One of the things when I've watched them through the years, they don't take bad threes. And that's interesting. They really don't. I'm not saying they're perfect or anything like that, but the way the ball movement and the way they space the court, it's really interesting how good they are. And so, no, there's no question that Kentucky should win the game, and I expect them to win the game. But when I look at it, I didn't want Kentucky to play. As a matter of fact, I didn't say this on the air, but about a week or so ago, I said to myself, I really hope they don't play Herb, because I always root for Herb, but I want Kentucky to win. Does that make any sense? I'm sure this has happened to you, Jimmy, where you like two elements. I always want Kentucky to win. I want Kentucky to win on Friday. I want them to upset Iowa State. Okay. And by the way, I haven't done my bracket yet. I'm going to probably do it tonight, but they're going to be a heavy underdog to Iowa State, and they should be a heavy underdog to Iowa State, but that doesn't mean they can't win. It's a hell of a team, Iowa State. It really is. And so upsets happen. And if Kentucky plays one of their best games of the year, could they beat Iowa State? Yes. Yes. But to say you're sure they're going to beat them outright, they're a number 2 seed. They deserve to be a number 2 seed. My thing is, and I said this starting the show, what I don't like about the bracketing is Kentucky's fault. I'm not blaming the search committee, this, that, and the other. By being a 7 seed, you're going to have to deal with a 2 seed earlier than you want. And there are teams, and I don't doubt this for a second, that have been the 7th seed that might have had a chance to advance further. You know this if you follow the NCAA tournament. Had they been a 6th seed, well, that's on Kentucky. It is on Kentucky. And so, Jimmy, do you agree with me? If a fan doesn't like their seeding, they should say Kentucky should have won more. I think this is on Kentucky and the team itself. Is that being mean or nasty?
No, and especially a team like Kentucky that we've all seen this year. They have some, blemishes on the record. You can't look at anyone except yourself in the mirror as a Kentucky fan, or look at the team however you want to put it. But yeah, you can't blame the committee. Of course, that's what fans are going to do. It's never your own fault, or it's never your team's fault. It's always find the committee, find the refs, blame somebody. But Yeah, this Kentucky team down the stretch, they had 2 different opportunities to have a double bye in the SEC tournament. The cards fell how they should have with all the other teams. Kentucky just couldn't handle their business. Like, how could you blame anyone else?
None of that. Let's take a little reversal with what you're saying. So they had to beat Florida, as everybody knows, then they'd have the double bye. My thing is, it never should have come down to that. They should have had the double bye wrapped up before playing the best team in the league. That's Kentucky's fault. It is Kentucky's fault. And by the way, there are times to blame the committee. There are. And Calipari's ticked off today because he's got to go to the West Coast. And then if he succeeds, and he's in a tough bracket, if he succeeds, but to me, there's no easy brackets. But if he succeeds, he's got to go back to the West Coast. Some of the stuff that they do, look, I get logistically, at times it's difficult to get done. I get it. But there are too many cases. Look, if I'm an Arkansas fan right now, I'm ticked about going to Portland. I am. Here's what I will never, ever, 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 ever understand. Sometimes it's not possible. Okay? But let's say you're a 4 seed. I bet you agree with this, Jimmy. You're a 4 seed. And whoever the 3 other teams on the 4 seed are. Okay, once you're on that particular line, at that point, it's not like who's rated as a 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th best team. That's just bull. Ooh, I'm getting worked up. I almost said it. That's just bull. I wasn't going to say it that time. What you do then, look, if you're Jimmy, there's almost no difference between the number 1 4 seed and the number 4 seed. Everybody knows that, right?
Yeah.
So at that point, have some damn common sense. Seriously, some damn common sense to make it so as best as possible, wherever the 4 seeds are supposed to go, to make it as close as humanly possible to where your hometown is so that your fans can get there. Be that as it may, you're going to sell more tickets. Not everything sells out 100%. That's number 1. And number 2, it's not fair to fans. It's not fair to fans. How many Arkansas, and I say the same thing about Kentucky. I know that Kentucky travels great, and they do, and it's spectacular. And matter of fact, when Patino, I was thinking about traveling. When Patino was here, we went out to San Jose one year, okay? And Jimmy, I couldn't believe, literally, as much as Kentucky fans travel, how many fans showed up to San Jose? It was spectacular. I'm going, my gosh. And some of these people had a lot of money, and some of these people were putting stuff on their credit card and were biting their tongue and stuff like that. They did it because they love Kentucky, and I think that's great. But whatever it is, they need to fix this crap. And I've said this for years. As long as you're on that number 4 line, instead of going, let's say, to the Portland, and I'm not going to look at where the other ones were with Cal, but you mean to tell me there wasn't some place they could have put him closer? By the way, I'm not doing this to shill for Cal. I'm just doing it because of what they did. And I'd say the same thing was Kentucky. Really. Same thing was Kentucky. I mean, when they said Kentucky, well, the other number 1 seeds had to go here because this is not nonsense. The rule should be, if possible, here's a Cutler rule. You ready for this, Jimmy? The rule should be, if possible, as long as you're on the same seed line, that no game should be set up, if humanly possible, so that fans don't have to drive more than 6 hours. Because within 6 hours, a lot of fans will travel. They'll travel. For example, I expect a lot of fans from Kentucky going to St. Louis, as they should. I think fewer will go because they don't think they're going to win 2 games. I could see that. But it's within 6 hours. And I would guarantee you, Jimmy, if you take a look at all the seeds and move them around, not the seeding. If they decide you're a number 4 seed, great. I'm not complaining about that. But geographically speaking, they do an awful job of placing teams closer to their home base. It's awful. It's dumb. It's disgusting. And I think it's very fixable. So if the number 2 4 seed ends up playing a little tougher, so what? There's not going to be much difference. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. Poke a hole in that, Jimmy. Go ahead.
I don't know if I can poke a hole in that. I mean, that's pretty spot on. And I do think the fans should be considered, because that's what makes college basketball. It's the fandom and the atmosphere in these arenas, because they are neutral sites. Like that should be taken. But again, it's the NCAA we're talking about, and I don't. Yes, they care, but do they really?
If Kentucky was sent to Portland, I would have led with that in my monologue.
Yeah.
So if somebody thinks I'm shilling for Cal, no. Had they sent Kentucky to Portland, that would be disgusting. It's really disgusting. Take care of your people. Take care of the fans. This is about the fans. College basketball is special because of you. It is. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And I've said for years, and I'm not the only one, so many of the late games seem to have very little to do with the seeding. I get Purdue and Michigan. Okay, they did something. Okay, I get that. But St. John's? I'm not chilling for Pitino, but I thought he should have been a 4 seed. I think Pitino thinks that too, but he's smart. He's going to kind of leave it alone. It's just, that's the part that I don't get. I don't get. Look, you're on the committee. There are people on the committee, and I've said this forever, who don't know basketball as much as they should. And they have busy jobs, and some are basketball people, and some are football people, and I get it. And I've said this for years. I'm going to bring this up with Hoops, Dick Hoops Weiss, my dear friend, who will join me later this week. Jimmy, don't you think it'd be smart? Not me. This is not a shill for me, but take somebody like Dick Hoops Weiss. Take somebody like his best friend, Bob Ryan, one of the great sports writers of all time. I guarantee you, I could come up with, and have a few athletics directors. Okay. I guarantee you, I can come up with a much better committee. I mean, it's amazing what Hoops still knows about basketball and the history and this and that and the other and the teams and whatever. It's crazy. I would be surprised if there's an athletics director in that room, and I'm not ripping him, Jimmy. I promise you I'm not ripping him. I would be surprised if there's anybody in that room that knows more current basketball. Forget about the history that he knows, current basketball than Dick Hoops Weiss. I would be surprised if there's anybody, put Bob Ryan on that list. If John Feinstein was still alive, Hoops' best friend, died tragically, I would put him in that boat. And there'll be some TV people as well. And I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, it's the good old boy network. This is how we've done it. We're always going to do it this way. I'm saying, sit down, have a conversation. Maybe have somebody in the room who knows logistics. Portland? No, don't send them to Portland. Wherever the other seeds are. And again, somebody's going to get screwed. I get that, where it's not possible. But don't you think they probably could have changed 8 or 10 games?
Yeah, you would think. And I mean, imagine like how Santa Clara fans feel. St. Louis is a pretty good ways away from Santa Clara, California. Like that's not an easy travel. And again, it's almost like you look, okay, should the 10 seed fans get as much leeway as, say, a 1 through 6 seed? If you're a lower seed, you're SOL. You should have played better, or, whatever. Not everyone can have everything. But like you said, there's more than just a handful of games that they could have you would assume, move around.
I got a simple answer to your really smart comment. You know what that is? You do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in other words, what you do is you take care of the number 1 seeds because they're a number 1 seed. Okay. And then you take care of the 2 seeds. And if it gets down to the 10 seed and there's really nothing you can do, you're blank out of luck. You just blank out of luck. And I'm okay with that because if you've really done all the things you're supposed to do, it's crazy. By the way, did you see the fake release that came out? Somebody put a fake release that had the wrong game times, and people bought it.
I didn't see that, but I saw a couple people that had retweeted it that then had to come back and say, hey, I saw it retweeted by a good bit of people.
Well, guess what I did? I forgot what Jeff Drummond put up. I'm not blaming Jeff Drummond. He put up the Kentucky time. So Judy asked me what time's Kentucky playing, because sometimes, some of the stuff and I told her one time, and then about 20 minutes later, I said, wait a second, I gave you the wrong time. She goes, how could you do that? So I explained to her. What is wrong with the world that somebody wanted to and did put out a fake release that people bought? Now, I'm sure there are people laughing like I duped you and all that kind of stuff, but I don't is it me? Am I too old or something like that? What is the impetus for doing something mean like that? I mean, you want to prank your high school teammates or something. I get that, but there's somebody who put this out and they're laughing like crazy.
Yeah, I think because I asked the same thing. Am I just too old to get these jokes now? And at 35, maybe I'm at the age where it doesn't make sense. Same thing with like the fake insiders for NFL trades or baseball trades. The name who's so close to Adam Schefter, but you have to double, triple check it. Like, what are you getting out of it to throw all these fake trades out there? Like, what? I guess it's funny, but I don't. Especially with this, like releasing the wrong game times. Like, what are you getting off on this? I don't get it.
There was a guy, and I already forgot his name, but you know who it is because we talked about it, who puts up fake things with coaches and stuff like that. And I saw it, and it actually was something that was very believable. It might have been true, but when I saw the name, I went,
Yeah.
I'm not buying it. Big time thanks to Jonathan Davis. Big time thanks and congratulations to Nate Valentine, who's got to play Warren Central in Game 1 of the Sweet 16. Big time thanks to Robbie Graham. I'm really happy for him. Just a really good dude. And to finally win the state championship after losing it last year when they thought they had the game won. And it's the 5th time that the GRC hoops team as a program has made it to the championship, and they finally won. I'm really happy for it. And you got 2 high school coaches that are great dudes who care about kids and happen to be hell of a coaches. Tomorrow, Herb Sendek will be straight up at noon. Derek Anderson, who's never done the show before, will be kind enough to join us, and we've got a lot more coming up. Jimmy, as always, thank you. Thank you. Have you gotten sleep now that you're a father for the second time? Have you got enough sleep?
It's been a couple. Thursday, Friday, Saturday were rough. Staying in the hospital. Then we got to come home. So it's been nice the last couple nights. Those hospital beds / recliners are not the best.
Not the best. Bless you, brother. Happy and pleased for you and your family. It's a beautiful thing. Coming up at 4 o'clock.
Wildcat Drive with Matthew and Jimmy.
And give a plug for the special guest you have on Thursday.
Wednesday. Wednesday, yeah. Eli Capilouto will be joining the show 4:30 on Wednesday.
I bet it's a big audience. Hat tip to Lynn Martin. Didn't Lynn?
Yeah, and I believe Lynn Martin will be in studio with us for this interview. So this will be big. 4:30. Tune in.
I will tune in, and we'll probably play a couple snippets, a couple sound bites the next day. How could we not? How could I not play sound bites from something like that? Something in there will absolutely unequivocally pique my interest. Brad Taylor coming up next. As always, Jimmy. Bless you, brother. Thank you. So you're here this week, all week.
All week.
All right. I'm sending stuff also to Sean in case, something happens. I get it. But you're doing